Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm really excited because today I have in my hands the Play 4 Dream mixed reality headset here, and I'm really excited about this one, and there's a few reasons why. First of all, is the first Android-based VR MR headset that we've gotten out so far here in the United States, which is awesome. They're also claiming to be the highest resolution, MR headset that we have out there, standalone headset that we have out there. So the pixel density on this, the OLED panels that they have on this, the pancake lenses and stuff, is supposed to be the best visual experience we've ever had in a standalone headset. And not only is this a standalone headset, but it also can be used for PC VR as well, which I'm excited to try because this will be the highest resolution panels that I've ever used with PC VR. So things are going to look even that much more sharp than before. So I'm super excited to try that. I'm super excited to check out their store and just see some of the games and stuff that I've been playing on the Quest that's here right behind me, but just see it in that much higher resolution. Because obviously, this is a way higher resolution than the Quest one has. This is, touting 4K per eye. This is kind of what our Dream Quest Pro would have been. And it even is higher resolution than the Apple Vision Pro that I have here. And to be honest, the Apple Vision Pro has been turned into my media consumption device where I watch my 3D movies and Apple stuff and just Apple content and stuff like that. That's primarily what I use that device for. I don't really use it for games because it doesn't have controllers. So this is kind of like what should be my dream device, because basically what it is it is Apple Vision Pro like, in the quality of the lens is actually even a little bit higher than that. And it has the pancake lenses, it has the OLED panels, but on top of that, it lets you use it with standalone games because it comes with two controllers like the Quest Pro does, and also lets you easily use it with PCVR. Virtual Desktop is on their store and stuff like that. So I'm excited for all of this because it seems like it's something that a lot of us have been wishing for. Give me a Quest Pro with some of those games that developers are making. Give me the Android operating system and Android-based OS that we have on there, and give me the highest resolution panels that we can get, and give it to me for a lower price than what the Apple Vision Pro costs. And this right now is coming in at $2,000. So much less than the Apple Vision Pro comes in at. So again, really excited. We're going to do some unboxing and first impressions in this video. And of course, we're going to be doing more videos as this comes out going forward. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
All right, guys, so here is the box that it comes with. You can see I have not opened it yet. I have not tried this at all. I'm literally going to be seeing this for the very first time with you guys. Obviously, I've seen their website and stuff like that when I looked into them, when they told me to take a look at this on my channel. And obviously, after seeing their Kickstarter backers, because this was originally on Kickstarter, most people are happy with it. Most people are talking about it. And seeing their website, obviously, I had no questions asked that I would check this out on my channel. So let's go ahead and open this up here for the very first time, taking it out here from the plastic. Let's see if I can get this without a knife, because like usual, I forgot to cut this. There we go. We were able to get it from the corner without using a knife. So here goes the plastic. Super excited for this, like I said. Love VR and MR and stuff like that, mixed reality, and the fact that this is the highest resolution headset that have ever tried before obviously makes me super excited to see this. And people have been talking about it, and people are pretty impressed with what this offers. And has a pretty good FOV as well. So from what I hear, it's like 103 degrees as well. It is using the newest Snapdragon too, so it's a little bit more powerful, about 20% or so than the Quest 3 is, because it's using the Snapdragon XR2 Plus. So that's also a really good thing as well. So here we go. We're opening it up, and there it is right here in front of us. We're going to put the box here to the side. We got the controllers right here in front of us. So let's take a look at these first. There you go. We got these wireless controllers. They are rechargeable, which is nice. Obviously, it fits really comfortable in the hands. It's got like that curve nature, so it fits. It's not like, exactly like a Quest 3 controller is, but it's very similar in that vein. I would imagine that if you're comfortable with that one, you're going to be comfortable with this one. Your hands, as you can see, naturally fit in the trigger positions here, and you can see the XR and buttons there on the front. So very similar feeling to them, so these should do well. And like I said, they are rechargeable, so you can recharge them right out of the box. And then on the back here, let's see, before we take out the headset, let's see what we have for wires and stuff. So right here in the back, we have the plug. And the plug is nice because it has the USB on the top and USB-C on the bottom, so you can charge the headset and the controllers at the same time, which is nice that it's a dual charger. So we'll put that here to the side. And then over here on the other side of it, we have the cables. So we have the first cable here, which is USB-A, that plugs into that charger, and then it has two opposite ends for USB-C that plug into the controller, so you can charge both controllers at the same time and the headset, which is awesome. And then, of course, you got the braided cable here that we're going to put here to the side that you can plug into your headset to charge. So a nice braided cable here for you to charge your headset. But of course, what we're actually here for that I am super excited about is the headset itself. So we're going to go ahead and put this over here to the side. All right, so here is the headset itself. We're taking it apart for the very first time, and boom, here it is. Very, very nice, sleek looking headset. It obviously reminds me very much of both the Apple Vision Pro in ways and also the Quest 3. It's kind of a mixture of both. It's got the dial on the back, so you can go ahead and open it from the back and close it and make it tighter. It's got like this front cover here that you can just go ahead and peel out. So there it is right there, as you can see right there on the front. Really, really nice, sleek looking device. Definitely reminds me of the Quest Pro. This thing has 14 cameras on it. 14 cameras, so obviously it uses in and out tracking with the controllers and has 14 cameras on there. Like I said, pancake lenses, OLED. Got the charger there on the side. Of course, it has built-in audio. Excited to try all of this out and turning this on for the very first time. And what's really cool too is even though it has a built-in battery, you can also optionally get a battery pack that you can still use and connect to the USB-C and kind of put it next to you and still use the headset. So if you're playing, your PC VR and you want to be able to play more continuously than the built-in battery lets you, then you can also plug in an external battery and continue to use this while you're playing. So there is that option as well. But really, really nice looking device, very sleek. Very nice looking, very sleek looking, and obviously I'm really excited to turn this on. And they also, Play for Dream was nice enough to also work with me because as you guys can see, I have glasses on me. And even though they do sell a facial interface that you could use with glasses as well, I hate that. I like using lens inserts. I have lens inserts for everything. I have it for my Quest. I have it for my Apple Vision Pro. I use it with my big screen Beyond that I have behind me as well. I forgot to mention I do have a regular big screen Beyond, and I have a big screen Beyond coming this week as well. So we'll be reviewing that for PC VR, the new big screen 2E. And I have inserts for all of that stuff because I just think that's how it needs to be. So these are the inserts that I got from Apple from Play for Dream. They come in this little sleek case here with a little screen protector. So first thing we're going to do is they have some lens covers on this. I'm going to go ahead and remove the facial gasket, which removes really easily magnetically, as you guys can see. And I'm going to go ahead and put these lens inserts on. The lenses have these little plastics on them, so we're going to go ahead and put that on. Very nicely labeled on the bag too, so you can't mess it up, that it says left right there on a sticker, which makes it easy to not mess up. These lenses are so small. I like the way that these lens inserts go in there. They go in there really smoothly and just sit in there tightly. Go in there magnetically and, obviously are not going to come out. But obviously, I think it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and power this on for the very first time. There's two buttons on the top. I'm going to go ahead and power this on here. Put this on my head for the very first time. Oh, I forgot to put the gasket back on. That would be useful. Otherwise it's going to feel weird. Where did I put that thing? Here it is. That'd be useful if I put that back on. All right, so it is powering back on. Or powering on, I should say. Got the lens inserts, and I can see that the lens inserts definitely are in there because I could read the logo that's starting up right now. Oh, there goes some audio. Now, of course, you guys can't see the initial setup because I have to set this up first. But I will walk you through what I see and how clear the visuals end up being here. Oh, we're in pass-through right now. It is loading up right now. Okay, it's telling me how to put the headset on. It's telling me to drop it down a little bit. And now it's asking me what language. So you can hit the dial here. It's telling me to hit the dial to select a language, Chinese, English. So obviously we're going to choose English. And you press that with the dial. Please press and hold the knob to adjust the distance. So right now you can hold this and it does the distance of your IPD automatically. So it moves just like the Vision Pro kind of does. I can hear it moving. And now it is set just for me, which is awesome. So now it's even clearer than it was before. So Really, really good. I'm obviously in pass-through right now, so I could see you guys. I could see through it. I have the menu in front of me, and it's telling me to grab the controllers. And the pass-through looks pretty good so far. I mean, I think if I, like, I would have to go back and forth to compare, but I think it's not as good as the Apple Vision Pro, but pretty close, but definitely better than the Quest 3 is. So let's go ahead and grab these controllers here. So it's telling me press the O to wake the controllers up on both of these controllers. They both just vibrated, have the nice LEDs. They paired instantly, which is nice. Select the button at the bottom to use the controller and press to confirm. Boom. Now it's telling me to connect to my Wi-Fi. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It does support smart 6G, which is great because if you want, to be able to use PC streaming and stuff like that, 6G is definitely the way to go. And the signal looks like it's pretty strong, which is good to see. So we're going to go ahead and connect to my 6G network. I'm going to go ahead and put in the password here. Great thing about pass-through here is that I could still see my phone. All right, headset, his password has been entered. It's activating, and it just activated. Now it's telling me to look at the user agreement, so we're hitting agree. Welcome to the world of Play for Dream VR. It's telling me this is how you get to home. And boom, that was as simple as the setup was. There wasn't anything else really going on right now. I have the menu in front of me. So we're gonna let this thing update fully. I'm gonna charge it up for a little bit because it only has 20% left with all this updating and stuff I've been doing. And we're gonna charge it up and then we'll be back to continue this video. But so far, this thing is insane as far as the visual quality because even though I haven't opened up any apps yet, which is the whole point, I could see how clear the actual system icons are that are in front of me and all that kinds of stuff. So we'll be back here as soon as I charge this up for a little bit and it updates. All right, guys, so now that we have that all updated and stuff, we're going to go ahead and showcase a few things on the headset. I did do some research and have been playing with it for a little bit just to get a feel for it before I started talking to you guys about it. And we're going to go ahead and put this on right now. And I will do a recording on the headset here so you guys can see what I see, of course. Pass-through on here is really good. It's definitely a step up from the Quest like I talked about there in the early unboxing. So it's definitely better than the Quest 3. Not exactly as good as the Apple Vision Pro, but still really good. You can easily use your phone and all that kinds of stuff that people want to do in pass-through. So I don't think most people are going to complain if you're coming from the Quest 3, you're going to find it to be a much improved version of pass-through. Okay, so here we are recording the what you see in front of me right now is me using the headset, obviously in pass-through mode. This is the interface that you see. You can see I'm using the controllers right now. We'll talk about what else you can do with your hands in a minute, but with the controllers here, you have a very familiar interface for those who have seen things like the Apple Vision Pro and stuff where you have these icons in front of you. They pop out, you can see pass-through and stuff like that, and you're kind of sitting here looking at this stuff. So now what we have here, camera, obviously on the camera functionality here, which is really cool. You can go ahead and record spatial videos and spatial pictures as well, and they actually look pretty goddamn good on this headset in my opinion. From everything that I've seen, so that's obviously good to see. Then you also have the album, which is where you see all the pictures and spatial videos and stuff that you've taken on the camera. This camera, like I said, is 3D, stereoscopic, so you can actually record stuff, in stereoscopic 3D, which looks pretty good on here. I wish I can show you guys that, but that's something you have to experience for yourself. They have their own PCVR streaming app, even though virtual desktop is definitely better. You got your settings, which we'll go back into that in a second. You got their app store on here. I think their app store, obviously, being a smaller company and a smaller headset out there, there's still some things that they need to do to the store to get more developers on there. They have a few games that a lot of us recognize. Things like In Death Unchanged. You have Cave Digger, which I recognize. You have Band Space, which I recognize. Scrolling through all these games that they have on here, you got Rush, which I remember from way back in the day. You have Hubris, which is a really good game. First person tennis, I remember that one. And then is that it? I think that was it. Oh, an Audio Trip, that's the other good one. So those are and that's their whole store. That's all their games right now. That's technically on their store that you can download and play. So they definitely need to, entice developers to port their games over and bring more games over here so you can easily access them on the store. They have applications as well, which we'll talk a little bit about in a minute. Of course, the main one being virtual desktop. That is how you stream PCVR. Then you got your updates that you can go ahead and purchase from here. So that is their store. Like I said, they could definitely use some work as far as getting more things to the store. You got your browser right here. So what's really cool is that this works very similar to what you would expect when you have a browser opened. You can go ahead and hold the bottom bar here or move it wherever you want in 3D space, and then you can go ahead and open something else if you want to, just like you would on other headsets, and have multiple windows open around you in 3D space, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. You also have Dreambox. We're not going to get into that today, but that is basically a device that they sell separately from the headset that you can get to basically plug HDMI devices into it so you can play on a big screen, kind of like Nintendo Switch or Xbox and stuff. Think like AR glasses, but for this instead, that you can plug in and use the 4K panels on here. Don't have one of those, so we're not going to be able to talk about that right now. You have your files, so you can go ahead and do that. They have a user guide here as well. And then you get to the apps over here that I downloaded for the most part. So the Aurora store is a Play Store, since this is not something that supports Google services, at least not right now. Hopefully they get XR support when Google XR rolls out, and they said that they are working with them. So hopefully that happens so we can get those Google apps and stuff working on here. But the Aurora store is something that you can sideload really easily, and then you have all the different apps on here that you can, download and use the Aurora store right here, and download a bunch of different apps like you can see here, right from, to your headset. And that's what I did for most of these. So you got Netflix, you got Disney Plus here, you got TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, virtual desktop, RVX, which is a YouTube player, since YouTube is not natively supported on here. Like I said, Google services, Plex, Streamio, and these two 3D apps that we'll talk about in a second. So, first of all, Netflix and Disney Plus and their streaming services, even if you download them, unfortunately, they are limited to 1080p. It's all due to like the rights that they have with these companies and getting the proper encoding and all that stuff to work with this device. Right now, it only supports up to 1080p. Hopefully, that's something that they would use, because I would love to use this headset more. But streaming services being capped at 1080p for a 4K panel is obviously deterring me from using it. The only thing that you can actually watch in proper 4K, unless if it's your own files, obviously, is YouTube. This RVX app that I was talking about before. You can go ahead and launch this, and it will launch YouTube. And you can, at that point, switch this to landscape mode and then watch this stuff in 4K. And then things will actually be in 4K, and you'll be able to get the full resolution using this, which is obviously a very good thing. But for Netflix and stuff like that, and Disney Plus and Amazon and all that, unfortunately, those are all limited to 1080p. But at least they work on here. From what I heard a couple of months ago, that wasn't even working. So it is better than nothing right now that you can at least stream them. That's why I have Streamio on here, because Streamio also lets you like stream 4K stuff. If you guys know what Streamio is, that's like the workaround. Even if you have Netflix and stuff on here and you don't want to watch the stuff in 1080p, then you can use Streamio and do it in other ways. So I'm sure you guys know what Streamio is, and if you know, you can use it on here and support 4K stuff on here as well. Like I said, you also have your TikTok feed and stuff like that, so it opens up in all these different windows, just like you would expect. You can resize the window by looking at the bottom. You can make it a little smaller, make it a little bigger, put it wherever you want, just like that.
But then it's going to give you 1, 2, 3 USBs.
Let's go ahead and pause that. But yeah, you can move it around and stuff like that. So love to have all these apps accessible. You can have Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, all the stuff that you would expect on an Android platform are all here. Virtual desktop we'll come back to. And then these two are what you would use to basically watch like 3D 3D 180 videos or 360 videos and stuff like that, which is really cool. This app right here is free to download. They do sell a premium service, but you don't need it if you just want to watch, some of the stuff here like you're looking at. You can see city reviews and some trailers and stuff, and you can see some of them are in 180 3D, some of them are 8K. Obviously the resolution is going to vary depending on the video, but there's been some impressive stuff that I've seen on here as far as the quality that you'll see on here. So DOVR, definitely a really good app to be able to, do that with. And then the other one that we have here is spatial pictures and videos that people share. So this is like a social network that people share those spatial videos and stuff that people have created, which is pretty cool. So if you like spatial videos and you want to see other people's other spatial videos and spatial pictures and stuff, that would be what you can see on here, if it decides to load. Maybe it's because I'm recording right now. It might be what it is, because I didn't have any issues with it before, and that's all. Oh, so here's some of them. But yeah, some of these look fantastic. When you click on one of these, for example, it kind of opens up in this gigantic window here. You got comments on the right. Obviously, this isn't coming across by now, but this looks really, really good. These flamingos look like they're literally in my room, popping out in 3D. I mean, spatial videos and pictures, I've always been something I've been impressed by with the Apple Vision Pro, and they look really good on here. And like I said, you can use the camera on here to take your own, which look as good as this does. It really does do a good job, even better than the Vision Pro does with recording your own spatial videos and stuff, which is good to see. Now, going back into settings, there are some stuff I want to show you that we definitely need to change. So you guys can have the best experience on the headset, because some stuff is not turned on by default. First of all, when you first get your headset, make sure everything is updated. So you got your Wi-Fi here at the top. You got your Bluetooth, obviously, that you can pair. Then you have general. You got your time of day, country, language, microphone. You can use a built-in microphone or an external. You have your sounds here, which I have all the way up. You have haptics, which I turned this up because it wasn't all the way up for intensity, because I like feeling the haptics as good as they can be on the controllers. Screen and recording, all that kinds of stuff. You got storage space. Like I said, this is a 512 gigabyte drive. Power and about, which is where you go and do system update on here if there was a system update, and you can factory reset right from here. Then you got interactions. So here's where you can calibrate your eye and hand tracking, which we'll do here in a minute. When we talk about that, you can see the controllers. The controllers last about 35, like over 35 hours, because from what people have said, like 35 hours, and they were down to 50%. Like, I've been using this for a while, and they're still at 100. So you can do the measuring your IPD. Like I said, it auto measures your IPD automatically and moves it where it needs to be, which is great for sharing the headset and stuff. So there you go. And then it shows you the battery percentage of the headset. You got system tracking turned on. You got your boundary that you can set up, your obstacle and your floor level right from here, so you don't run into things. Nothing to change on there specifically. And here comes some stuff that we need to change. So on the display, you have basic options here. You have your adjustment for contrast, saturation, color temperature, and hue. You got eye protection. So if you want to turn on blue protection, you have that there. You have pass through, which you can do image quality first or low latency first. I do image quality first. Viewing experience first for distortion, and then color filtering you have on here for how you want the things to look at if you want to mess with any of that, which is on here for pass through. And then here's the first thing you need to change. So when you first turn this on, you got, this is usually set 3K per eye. Switch this immediately to 4K. Yes, you're going to use more battery life, but the whole reason you got this headset is for the panel. So I want it in 4K. Then you got the foveated rendering mode. They just added a beta for its fully rendering, so you're not using any foveated rendering at all, which is what I currently have it set to. As somebody who uses a 5090 on virtual desktop and everything, and haven't had any issues with other apps, I have it on full rendering. If things come out in the future that make me change my mind for certain things, I will. But right now, this is what I leave it at, full rendering. Then you got color mode here. You got 3 different options now: true color, balance, and vivid. Vivid is actually the one I recommend. It provides a vibrant color experience native to the screen. So that's the one I usually like to use. And these are not turned on by default. At least they weren't when I did it. Make sure chromatic aberration is turned on, because it literally removes all the chromatic aberration. That's where you get all those like lens flares at the corner, like the circle edges of your display and stuff like that, like the rainbow effect. This eliminates it completely, which is awesome. You got the prescription lens compensation. If you wear prescription lenses, you can go ahead and change these stuff right here if you need to. So yeah, that's what you could do in the advanced section. Then you got your apps that you see on here that you can remove and install if you need to. You got your control center, which lets you basically have those different options on there. You have your environmental settings on here, or sorry, environment settings. So you can either be not in VR like right now, pass through, or if you dial this all the way up, you have a little dial at the top, just like Apple Vision Pro has, where you can dial it a little bit and not completely. So you can see that and scroll through it. There you go. And they have a couple of different ones here. And then I've also downloaded a few that people have done. Obviously, the Quest ones that I've been used to are definitely more impressive than what's on here. These kind of, or even the Apple Vision Pro, which are much better resolution, because it looks good. It's not like it's blurry or anything, but they're just not really that interesting. So hopefully they add some interesting environments on here, or people make their own, because definitely not anywhere near as good as the Apple Vision Pro ones, and not as good as some of the cool ones that you can get on the Quest that you can get on there. And then you can do lab system frequency. You can go ahead and change this to either 72 hertz, 80 hertz, or 90. So when you're running this at 4K, like I showed you before, the highest you can put it at is 80 hertz. If you try to go to 90, you'll get this message: 4K full rendering is currently not supported. So just keep that in mind. You have to basically set it at 80 at the highest if you want to use a full K rendering. On here, I wanted to go back here real quick to the basic options that you have on here. That I did adjust some of these after messing with it a little bit more. These are the best settings that a lot of the community members have said are the best on their Discord, so shout out to them. But you can see here, contrast I would set to 4, saturation I would set to 22, color temperature 40, hue I would leave at default. So, and brightness all the way up, which I believe was the default. So if you want that, the best settings that a lot of people have recommended, that's what I would put everything on, and that 4K resolution like I talked about before that you have on here, and then the vivid preset. So that's all these settings that I have for you right now that you can change on here to get the best visual experience. One of the apps that I do want to show you here, which is really cool, is the Dream Cinema. So this is the app that I use to watch all of my content when it comes to local movies and stuff like that that I have on like my server that I have at home and stuff like that, like on my local network. The Dream Cinema looks fantastic. And what I really like about it also is, first of all, they have 2 different scenes, as you can see here. So they have the giant cinema that you can switch to, and they have like ambient noise in the background and stuff like that that you can kind of hear. And the theater looks fantastic, really high resolution, and obviously a big screen. Or you have the seaside cabin that we just saw before that has a little bit more background noise and stuff like that, but you can obviously change that. You have pure black or starry sky that you can lock the scene in. You can go ahead and set the scene. You can change the brightness. You can lower the white noise. Like I said, right now it's set to 10%. You can make it higher or lower while you watch a movie. You can access local network like DNS servers and stuff like that that pop up on here. You can do a remote share. You can download their little PC app and stuff like that, so you can go ahead and share your computer that way. You can plug in a USB, and then you have local videos on the actual headset itself if you want to transfer stuff to the headset, which is great. And then what's really cool is you can actually open up apps right here as well. So here's an example here, like for TikTok, for example, will open up here, and you can watch it. Any of the media apps that you downloaded on Android will actually show up on here, and you can watch it on this big screen. You can see things dim out. You can adjust the scene. You can adjust the brightness if you want it to be brighter or lower. I really like this app. It works really well. And like I said, you have all these different apps on here that you can use. So now I can
You
watch.
said a woman in her 30s.
You can watch all of these different apps on here. And then when you're done with it, you can just close it and boom, you're out of that app. And then you can do it for the next one. You got, not every app is going to work great. Some work better than others, but you can do that with any of these apps that show up on here, which is really cool. Like the YouTube one, like Streamo, for example, that I was talking about before. If you open that up, you have this right here, and then you can go ahead and, you know, watch all of this stuff right here, which is super cool. But the best thing about using this app is being able to use your own local media on your server, like I have right here, which we're not going to do right now for copyright reasons, but where all my 3D movies are stored. Watching a 3D movie in these environments and stuff look fantastic, and they really do, you know, do really well as far as, you know, watching 3D movies on here. The experience on using these panels with the 3D movie is obviously fantastic and look really, really good for my own local media that I have. So the other thing I want to talk about in the OS here is that you could also put the controllers down and not use them. Give it a few seconds and they'll realize that they're not being used. Good. Now that they're gone, now you can start using your hands. So you put up your hands, and then you can start using your eyes. So it has eye tracking, like I said, and you can see it's highlighting the icons as I look at them. You can kind of see that they're kind of popping into view. Same thing the Apple Vision Pro kind of does. And then you do the exact same thing that you would do on the Apple Vision Pro to open things up. I go ahead and look at the browser, and then I'm pinching with my hand. And then you can, again, pinch the bottom here. I didn't want to use Plex, but that's fine. You can pinch the bottom here and move this in 3D space if you want to. You can go ahead and, you know, move it wherever you need it to be, just like you would on other ones above, below you, and stuff like that. And then you can click this and open up other apps and stuff like that. You can scroll by doing this, just like you would before, and, you know, open up different things on here and just scroll through things just with your eyes, just like the way you could on the Vision Pro. I think they did a good job with the way that this all works. That, like, your eye tracking works well, selecting things works pretty well, and you can kind of see it being selected here. Like if I want to look at free movies, you can see I'm selecting that right now. If I want to look at Plex up there in the corner, and I'm looking at find movies, keyboard pops up. So the eye tracking works pretty well. And hand tracking works well. So if I'm coming into the headset and I just want to like use the interface and stuff like that to watch a movie or look at content and stuff like that, I'd rather just use this. And you could just scroll just like you would expect on these as well. So works pretty well. And they did a good job with that, in my opinion, with the hand tracking and making this feel like a pretty fluid OS on here. very similar to what we're used to with the Vision Pro. So let's go ahead now and switch over to showing you just a couple of minutes of virtual desktop, just to show you guys some of the settings that you should be using, and just PCVR in general, because I do want to be able to show you guys how that all looks, so you guys can get an idea of what you guys can expect from there, even though obviously we'll do a separate video really showcasing PCVR on this device. But for now, let's just give you a couple of snippets of it. So virtual desktop is right here. I have my PC right behind me, obviously, and we're going to open up virtual desktop right now. It is going to launch. Now, I am recording at the same time, so we'll see how that does with this PC and doesn't cause any issues, hopefully. So first of all, looking at my virtual desktop streamer on here, this is the newest beta that's currently out. So first of all, the things I would tell you to use, AV1 10-bit Quest 3 has the best looking performance that you can get. I've heard from other people that if you're playing like a fast twitchy game, to switch it to H.264 Plus, because you can make the bit rate even higher. It can go up to like 600 megabits per second as opposed to 200, which is what AV1 is set to. But I think for a majority of people, AV1 is going to be what you want, because there's a lot less compression and it just looks visually better than all the other codecs. And these are the things I would turn on here. 2-pass encoding, if your GPU is strong enough like mine is the 5090, I would use the VDXR runtime that they currently support on there, with these options here turned on. And then importantly, I would set the VDXR render resolution to 144 Hertz, so it uses the max resolution of these panel headsets when you're streaming. So that's basically all you need to set on the streamer side of things to get the best performance out of here, in my opinion. And then on here, you go into the streaming settings here. You're going to want to set this to Monster. Monster is a option that you only have on the Playdream headset. They literally just made this available just for Playdream. I don't think anybody else can even access it. So you need a 5090 or something, or some people have used it with a 4090 as well. But so set it on there. You got the 80 FPS frame rate. Like I said, we're in 4K, so you can't set this to 90. VR bitrate is set to max, the 200. Like I said, if you use the other codec, you could technically go higher, but to me, the trade-offs here are better because, like I said, it visually looks the best. Sharpening, I wouldn't go any higher than 75%. I would leave that as is. Leave synchronous space warp at automatic. This actually you can turn off, not needed when you're already super sampling with VDXR, so don't need to do that. And then you don't need increased color vibrance either, because you already did those settings that I talked about in the settings, like adjusting the saturation and stuff, so you don't need to do that. So that should be it as far as these settings go. Obviously, for the settings of your PC, you can maximize all this as high as you want it to go. So let's go ahead and just show you guys a quick game. Let's go ahead and launch Steam VR here. Now, like I said, I am recording on this headset at the same time, so I may get a little bit higher latency than usual because the headset's working overtime to record and also show you this, so we'll see. But here we are right here, and let's start off with something simple. Let's say that we go into big screen just to launch this real quick. Just to show you guys what that looks like. I have the specs in front of me so you guys can see it. Graphics quality is like set to monster, like I said. Render resolution shows 150% when you first launch it. Target frames 80%. You could see I'm at the 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which is great. And then here is the room. So you have this room right here. You can see things are running really good. You can move around. Yes, there is some latency sitting at 40, but definitely not bad at all. And I'm recording on this headset at the same time too, which is good to see that it's keeping up. And you can, watch things in PC VR or big screen, and it looks great in here. The God rays on this headset, or not the God rays, but the glare is very much taken care of. I don't see much glare at all, unless if you really, really look for it, there's a little bit. But for the most part, it's very, very good as far as the glare goes with these pancake lenses and with these OLED panels. They look really, really good. So I don't think a lot of people are going to be complaining about glare in most of the games, unless if it's like a really crazy high contrast scene. But for the most part, looks really good and makes watching movies in here a lot of fun. And the environments obviously look really good in here. So let's go ahead and exit at a big screen. Just wanted to show you guys that real quick. And then we're going to go into Steam VR Home. And again, I'll do a separate video really showcasing a bunch of different games streaming on here. We're not going to do that right now to make this video any longer than it already is, but I did want to show you at least a little bit. This looks fantastic on here. So you can see latency is a little bit higher on here, but again, that is because I'm also recording at the same time. Usually the latency on here usually sits at around like 45, but it's obviously a little higher right now because it's working overtime on this headset. But still, walking around here, on Steam VR. Still feels smooth when you're walking here, and it looks fantastic when you're looking at things and just enjoying the scenery on here in the home. Everything looks really good. The colors on these headset look really good. Obviously, the 4K quality on virtual desktop with the godlike mode just looks really good. Like this tree looks fantastic. Looks like the latency kind of sizzled out now where I usually see it, so it was probably just loading some textures and stuff like that. Yeah, you can see as you move around that latency goes up. Like I said, it's because of the recording, because it usually doesn't go that high. But regardless, looks really, really good on here. Appears smooth, not a lot of motion blurring when you move your headset around that I can tell. I'm not usually prone to that, but really, really solid behavior on here. I will show you guys one more, and just look at all this, like how clear this all looks in the headset. It looks really, really, really good. The last thing I will show you guys is Kayak VR Mirage, just to show you guys one of the best looking PC VR games that you can play on here. And then we'll dive into my final thoughts on this headset after that. All right, so here we are in Kayak VR Mirage, and I'm going to show you my favorite map that, in my opinion, looks really good on here to showcase the graphics. I'm going to go ahead and just do a random tour, and we'll do it during the day. This game has never looked any better than what it looks like right now. With these OLED panels, with this resolution, and it's streaming wirelessly. I don't know if it's coming across right here, but the milliseconds is insanely high because, like I said, I am recording this directly on the headset just to show you guys right now how good this looks. So I will do a separate video where I record it on my PC instead of directly on the headset. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea on how good this actually does look on here. Don't pay attention to the latency because that does not run this high when you're not recording directly on the headset as well. But goddamn, does this look really good. But I can't wait to do a video for you guys specifically on PC VR that kind of showcases this, and I'll record it on my PC wearing the headset so you actually get to see the benefits and see what the latency is a lot closer to what it would be right now, because like I said, I'm recording on this headset. But let's go ahead and get into my final thoughts on this right now. First of all, I forgot to mention in the box, there's two of these facial interfaces. There's the one that came on it, and then there was one in the box that's a little bit thicker. I'm using the thinner one. But for me, using the lens inserts and stuff like that, I didn't have the issue where some people said that the comfort was so bad because they couldn't put themselves in the sweet spot that the edge-to-edge clarity wasn't good and the resolution just wasn't good because of how bad, the comfort was in them situating the headset on the head. That wasn't my issue. I was able to get into the headset with no problem, even with the stock strap. And had a really good experience. Like I told you guys when I did like the impressions there when I first put it on, I was like, this looks really good resolution wise, and that has gone over tenfold. What has happened is the fact that after 30 minutes or so, this stock strap is just not very comfortable. First of all, the back strap is also made out of the same material, which I don't like, so it's this back piece here, and then the stock strap, and then not just the strap, not just this that we were talking about, but a lot of people also don't like this either, because this facial interface was made for like the Chinese market and stuff like that, and because of that, it's not made for our faces very well with the way that this goes in here. So it doesn't fit a lot of the Western market very well. So much so that they are already redesigning this, and Play for Dream already said that they're going to be making a Western version of it. So that should be coming out soon. They're looking for a partner to basically produce them now, the production to make these. But yeah, we'll see what happens when those come out. But for me, I'm obviously an impatient person. So there's actually, the good news is that if you either fall in my camp, or it's just uncomfortable, but you can still use the headset and still see the resolution. Or even worse, if you just can't get good resolution and good clarity because of how bad this is. If that's the case, well, good news is that there's 3D prints that you can use out there that the community made, which is awesome. And you can download them and print them if you have a 3D printer. I decided to buy the VR Panda mod. He has 3 different mods on there, which I'm really excited to check out. Obviously, I don't have them yet, so I'll do an updated review. Make sure you subscribe because we'll be doing a ton of reviews, or sorry, a ton of videos on the Play for Dream. That will be the next one, where basically he goes through and he modifies this, so he makes like a Western market, like, facial interface. He gets a more comfortable one of these. He replaces the back to make that more comfortable, and then he adds like a halo strap on top, which is what I'm used to with the Quest and stuff with the Bobo VR. That's going to make the comfort even better. So, and then he also has a mod that you can actually just remove this interface, and it kind of just sits on your head. And sure, you won't have the sealed light from the bottom, but then you'll get maximum FOV because you'll be able to get closer to the lenses without the facial interface. So I'm definitely excited to try that. So comfort out of the box, not great. There are fixes for it already, and Play for Dream is working on it if you run into the same issues as me. right now, after 30 minutes, I have to suffer through it because I want to continue playing it because I like so many other things about the headset. So I'm excited to get those mods and see what they look like and review it for you guys. The next thing we got to talk about here is resolution, of course, 4K per eye. One of the biggest selling points about this headset is the 4K panels and the lenses that we have here, and it does not disappoint. These things really are as good as they say they are. It's resolution in VR that I've never seen before, especially when I used it with PCVR, which I'll show some gameplay here in a little bit when we go to that. But man, it is really, really good as far as the resolution goes, and as far as how it looks like in virtual desktop when you're streaming PCVR and just using media for it and stuff like that. It's just amazing stuff. It really does look that good. The sweet spot on this thing is not the biggest in the world, but I still don't have any issues dialing it in pretty easily when it situates on my face. I don't have to maneuver with it for like an hour or anything like that. But the sweet spot is definitely small. It's definitely not as big as like other heads like the Big Screen Beyond 2 or the Quest 3, which has like probably the best lenses still to this day as far as like finding that sweet spot and that large sweet spot that it has, and the clarity from edge to edge and everything. But regardless, like I said, it's no issue for me at least to get into that sweet spot and get right into it. And the fact that these are OLED panels, obviously the black colors are really good. The colors on this are amazing. The brightness is really good on here. The lenses overall are obviously my favorite thing about this thing. And but between the lenses and the resolution, it really does make for a great headset for people who play, things like Microsoft Flight Simulator or racing sims and stuff like that. Because of that high resolution, because of the edge-to-edge clarity, for the most part, everything I see on the edges for this thing are really, really good. The edge-to-edge clarity is really good for me, so I have no issues with that. And the only other thing to say is about the FOV. Obviously, I'm excited to try those mods like I talked about before, but right now, I think the FOV sits around probably like 104. 103 for me, give or take, horizontally, and vertically is like 90-ish, like 91, 92. So not the greatest FOV out there. Quest is bigger than it and stuff like that, but still for the resolution you're getting and everything, it's a good compromise. The FOV is still not something I look at. It's still bigger than the big screen one was. So there is that. So the FOV is not bad, and 104 is not bad at all to be able to get in horizontally, and still makes me feel like I'm immersed. The other thing about this thing is the battery life. This thing, when you crank everything up, like all the settings that I showed you guys going through and cranking everything up to 4K and all those settings that I told you to max out, when you do that, the battery lasts literally like an hour and a half at best. So it's not going to last you very long. You can literally watch the percentage of your battery life go down. But the good news is that you can use a lot of power banks out there, like this one that I use right here, and you just put it in your pocket, a la like same way you do with the Apple Vision Pro. Put this in there. You can buy your own battery pack, put it in your pocket, plug it into the cable, and then you still have the wireless freedom. And then they will charge your headset, and you can still continue to use it, and you'll get multiple more hours than you could otherwise. So obviously the battery life is going to be something that's going to be compromised when you have a headset like this pushing this resolution and pushing these all these other features and stuff like that with the eye tracking and all that stuff that's there. And that's one of the other things that I like about this headset as well is the eye tracking that you can actually focus in on, and it dials in your IPD automatically, which is obviously awesome. You don't have to worry about it. Makes it great for sharing your headset as well. And then of course you got these controllers here. I do like the controllers. I don't have any issues with like the using them or anything like that. I will say that the tracking is definitely not as good as it is on the Quest. It's still really good. Like I, for the most part, don't have any issues, but all those years of the Quest getting better at the tracking, if you guys remember back in the day when the Quest first came out, when you play like a bowling game, for example, and I put my controller behind my back, of course the cameras on the front of this can't see it anymore, but the Quest does a good job of guessing and using AI and stuff to kind of guess where your hands are, and it doesn't lose tracking. Where on this one, as soon as it's out of that view from the cameras, it instantly loses tracking. Yes, it obviously comes right back for the most part when you put it in front of the cameras again, but obviously the Quest still has the standard as far as inside out tracking, though this is still really good, and for most use cases I don't think anybody's going to really complain. But those extreme circumstances that we're used to the Quest handling so well, that is all software updates, which is what's good, so they can improve it via software, is definitely not as good on here when you get to the nitty-gritty stuff like putting your hand behind your back for a bowling game, for example. But as far as tracking goes for like playing Beat Saber and playing like fast twitchy stuff and like that, I had no issues with the controllers keeping up with me when I was doing it or using it around the OS. So yeah, guys, as far as my early first impressions there on those categories, like I said, this is a headset that I'm really excited to have in my rotation right now. I'll be doing a future video telling you guys what I use each of my headsets for. As somebody who has multiple headsets now, it's like, which one do I gravitate for PCVR? Which one do I gravitate for standalone? Which one do I use for media streaming and all that kinds of stuff that's out there? What I really like about this headset is, of course, the 4K resolution. It's the highest resolution I've ever tried with PCVR. It's even higher than the Apple Vision Pro by a little bit as well, which is awesome. So really like the resolution and the optics on here, and the fact that you use OLED panels, so you get those great colors and deep blacks. Edge-to-edge clarity is good. I like the fact that it's an Android-based system, so you can go ahead and stream and download a bunch of apps like I talked about in my in the software section here, where you can go ahead and download a bunch of different apps that you have on here from Android and use them all and stuff like that. So hopefully that Android XR that's coming out, that they can continue to push and get a partnership with Google, so they can even add the Android XR on there, so we can get those Google apps to actually work that need Google Play services and stuff. But even without that, right now there's so many good apps that you can download from the secondary Play Store, like the one I showed you there before, where you can download a bunch of different apps that you want, and you put them around spatial and obviously get the fantastic 4K quality when you're using some of these apps. And then of course streaming PCVR. I mean, I've never seen PCVR look this good, because this is the highest resolution headset I've obviously had the luxury of trying, and it just looks really, really good. I mean, even with the new preset that they have on virtual desktop that I showed you guys, it really does look fantastic on these lenses. And when you get good streaming and all the settings that I told you guys to dial in, this headset really does look outstanding for PCVR, something that a lot of us haven't even seen, and it looks better than any other headset that I've tried out there for PCVR. The only thing that I would say that I wouldn't use this for PCVR for is like those fast twitchy games, because any latency is not great for those games. Things like Beat Saber and 11 Table Tennis, you do notice the latency. So for that, I'll gravitate towards something else. One of my other headsets for that, because you need that response time. But for story-based games, for games that like that latency is not as big of a deal, or things are a little bit more forgiving, like I think Synth Riders is more forgiving than Beat Saber, for example, as far as latency. Like I can play Synth Riders virtual desktop with no problem. It's going to be awesome to be able to use this headset and obviously be wireless. Obviously something that I haven't really done, because I've been using the Big Screen Beyond 1, now the Big Screen Beyond 2. So wireless isn't something I've ever played in PCVR, because I just never really liked it because of all the issues and stuff like that, and the Quest just wasn't good enough, and the Big Screen Beyond was, even the first one was always better than the Quest was, so there was no reason for me to ever use it. But now it's interesting. Now I have the Big Screen Beyond 2 that's wireless, but half the resolution of this, or 2500, basically half the resolution of this. But now here I have virtual desktop that I can use wirelessly, or I can plug in directly via a cable, get no compression or anything, and use the Big Screen Beyond 2. So that's stuff I'm going to be doing more testing on. We'll do comparison videos in the future, but really, really impressive with the Play for Dream and what these guys have been able to do. Remember, this is a new company out there, and it's crazy what they've been able to kind of pull off here with the resources that they have, with the Android system that's on here, downloading whatever apps you want, with the Apple Vision Pro like system where you can select everything on the menu, and all that is really good, which I'm really happy about. The hand tracking works pretty well on here, the inside-out tracking, even for PCVR. The lens quality is fantastic on here, the best I've ever used so far to date when it comes to lens quality and resolution, of course. And the OLED obviously looks fantastic on here. I think they have something that they can definitely continue to build on. And if they continue to do software updates, make the tracking a little bit better, if they continue to push forward and get more games onto their store, these standalone games, get some unique games out there, if they continue to push on the streaming services and be able to get them in 4K as opposed to 1080p that's out there right now, that's obviously going to be a big help as well. And yeah, I think they have a lot of things that they could do software side to make this headset go from, an 8 out of 10 right now, for example, to make it, a 9.5 out of 10 for a lot of PCVR players out there. So all that being said, who is this headset for? Well, this is somebody who doesn't care about the price, because this is $2,000, right under $2,000, so it's not cheap. But if you want the best PCVR experience, and you want the wireless PCVR experience, and you're okay and ready for it with, Wi-Fi 7 router, and you have all that stuff set up, and you're streaming virtual desktop and stuff like that, and you want the best fidelity you can get, in wireless form, well, bam, here you go. This is the Play for Dream that you can do that with. And then you also have the versatility of being able to use the Android ecosystem and downloading apps and using, you know, that as well when you're on the go and plugging in battery packs and stuff like that, which is obviously, you know, an awesome thing as well. So a lot of versatility with this headset. I'm going to do more videos on this as I continue to use it. I'm excited to follow the journey of this company and showcase some of the games that they have on their store for you guys to see how they perform on here. But first impressions are, this is going to be something that I use for PCVR a lot in my rotation right now, even as somebody who owns a big screen Beyond 2. But we'll get more into that as the comparison video comes out on which one I land and what games I play on each. But really, really impressive stuff, guys. If you guys have any questions about anything that you have for Play for Dream here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below. And make sure you check out the links below if you guys want to purchase your own headset for Play for Dream right now. And thank you guys for watching. Until next time.